Hello, and welcome to day 4 of 4. I've taken 4 days off work for Golden Week, and today has just been a bit of a day of getting things done, really. So, first of all, I've been doing some gardening. There you go, right? So, we have a range of Thai chili peppers, so I've been transferring them from in here into in here. So, we've got Thai chili in here. Here we've got one jalapeno, and I should move these over there because these two are habaneros, so you can see the leaves are all different on all of these. So yep, that one's an habanero, and I've got one more to move. So yeah, today has been a day of just trying to get lots of random things done. The other thing I've managed to get done today was swap out the covers for the tire. So I managed to swap out these covers because the old ones broke. So that's one thing I've been doing. Been also looking after our garden because it's now kind of getting to that point where things are starting to grow quite nicely out here. So unfortunately, last year we grew shiso, which is a Japanese herb. The only problem is that we are now finding that every pot we have has shiso growing out of it. So this here is the shiso. I didn't sow these. These are all from, it's just carried on. It all looked like it had died, but obviously the seeds had just dispersed itself. And so here we are with more shiso, which is really good. If you've never had this stuff, you can get it with like sushi and stuff like that. And it's like a mint. It's kind of minty taste, but that's not mint. This is mint. So this is, your standard peppermint. Oh, it smells great. So yeah, going to need to go back to my alcohol and start drinking again just so I can have those in mojitos. And then the other thing that we've been doing recently is growing quite a lot of rosemary in the garden. So if you've never seen a rosemary plant, that's what it looks like. This guy here, and this is, yeah, such a wonderful smelling plant. Love this stuff. So I've lopped all of this off. This was about that high, and so I've lopped half of it off, and we've got it drying in the house. And this will also encourage like a lot more growth to come out sideways as well, because it was getting really ridiculously tall. And it's not like I have a huge garden, right? That is my garden, so it's not massive. We have what you would call Acer in English. Sorry, this car's moving past right as I'm doing this. And Acer, in other words, a momiji tree. So we've got another one here because it's my favorite plant. So we've got 2 of these growing in our garden, although this one's fighting for its life because it wants to fall over because it's very tall and very top heavy. And so, but when we moved here, none of this was here. It was all just shale. It was just like pebbles. It was awful. So yeah, we're kind of gradually growing all of our plants and stuff like that. We got blueberries. I think this is, I can't remember, sakura tree, I think, yeah. And then all these plants here are just, yeah, we put them in last year and I thought they were all dead, and they've all just come back and like massive. I don't even know what these are called. I'm really not a person that does the whole gardening thing, but it's when you've got a garden, you're going to try and do something with it. Now, if I'm going to give you one recommendation of something I love Japan for that nobody ever talks about, is Japanese brushes are bloody amazing. Like this guy, see, this looks like a broomstick, right? As in, like, witch would ride. Freaking awesome. Like, you could buy all these like synthetic brooms and stuff. It doesn't do half the job that does. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Been feeding this one. You gonna say hello? How rude. How rude. Okay, you're doing that, are you? So tomorrow's video is going to be about this one and the other mysterious cat that's upstairs. And then maybe the day after, I will talk about the hidden room in my house secret room that we didn't know about. So that's my plan for this week in terms of like content, and yeah, the rest will depend on how far I can actually go cycling when it's during a public holiday. The other thing I did, I'll show you now, but basically it was rewiring some alarm systems. So in Japan, you tend to have boxes in the front of your house. So does this have my address in it? No, it doesn't. I'm just going to cover that. So in Japan, you have these, which are basically front doorbells, camera doorbell. The problem is we couldn't hear it from upstairs. So what we did was we as in I, rewired one of these. Kyukyusha this, Kyukyusha. Ambulance. So yeah, so this thing then is the whole post box, right? So you got your letters in here, as you would normally expect your letters to go in, and then in here you can Amazon put stuff all the stuff in here, and they've even got a little the little stamp that they can use to press to say that they've recorded it if they need to. So yeah, and so what happens is that they press that, they slide this over, and it will lock the entire box. And so only you can then get it open with the key, which you do from the back. So yeah, and as I mentioned, here's the shiso that continues to grow in my garden. So yeah, not a massive update today. It's going to be just a very simple one. The one cool thing that I did, I heard lots of children shouting outside the house a couple of weeks ago, and there's like a school up the road that works with challenged students, let's just say that, and so they basically give them tasks to basically keep them busy, teach them life skills and things like that. And so they come around and they sell fruit and vegetables, and that they literally grow themselves, but they also do flowers. And so they came around and they were like selling these flowers, and so I bought them all, and it cost me, all of these in total cost me like 200 yen. It's like £1.50 or something. It's really dirt cheap, and they're really good quality and beautiful flowers. I'm not really a flower guy, but these are quite nice, and supporting the local students and things like that. And it was quite funny because the girl that I gave her the money, and she's like, okay, where do I need to carry them to? Because I will carry them to your house. I'm like, okay, because it was just around the corner. So I said, okay, let's go over here. So I was speaking to this girl in Japanese, and she just looked at me, and she was just like, your Japanese is awesome. It was like, thank you very much. Like, how do you speak Japanese? I was like, with difficulty. But it was quite funny. It's one of those rare interactions you have that just made me giggle. So yeah, I love little interactions like that in Japan. And so the biggest issue that I have with living here is these trees. Like these are all, it's like a forest, mini forest behind us here, which are lovely to see. They're actually great from the windows and stuff. But my God, do they dump a lot of seeds and crap all over this area, which I then constantly have to clean up. So yeah, my neighbors think I have a full-time job just cleaning the yard. I'm sure that's what they think that I do. All right. So yeah, let me just go over here, look. See that window? Secret room. Later this week, we'll get into that. And I was just out here kind of tidying up for the end of the day. I started speaking with my neighbors from across the road. They own this space that's here that I've got behind me, and so last week I was tidying up in front of my house here, and they were saying to me, oh well, I wish I could do that but my back's bad. They're in their 90s, and I always have a feeling that do things as you would hope somebody would treat you when you're older. And so yeah, I don't have the opportunity to help my mum because she lives alone in Wales, but I do have the opportunity to help other people where I'm here. Konnichiwa. And so yeah, I cleaned up all of this area, right, all the way from their car all the way down and around the corner, and basically just cleaned up, got rid of, they had weeds sticking out, so I ripped them all out and I cleaned up, swept it and everything. And I didn't tell them I was doing it, I just did it. Didn't know if they'd even notice. I don't think their eyesight is that great. But they just came over and they kind of said thank you to me, so they must have found out somehow that I had done it, whether they had noticed it, from the window or something, but didn't say anything at the time, or that, somebody's told them. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Like, that's kind of like why I like this area. But the problem is that once these kind of old houses like this one behind me, disappear and the people get older and die out, that kind of relationship that you have with the people around you, your neighborhood and the people in your neighborhood, kind of dies out, because there are other people around, in this neighborhood that basically I haven't spoken to since I moved here. They can barely manage a konnichiwa out of it. And I'm just like, it's quite sad that people can't make basic conversation anymore. But the elderly, they can do whatever they want to do and they can say whatever they want to say. And they're generally, I find the elderly in Japan much easier to deal with than the youngsters. The youngsters kind of have a lot of high expectations about things. So yeah, but these guys are actually kind of well traveled. They spent, I think, several years in Canada, living in Canada. Even though they don't able to speak English to me, they always speak in Japanese to me. But yeah, it seems like they're quite well traveled. So yeah, they've obviously got a different outlook than maybe a lot of different people. Interesting, isn't it? All right, so I'll call it there. And hope you guys have a wonderful day. But I'm going to have a simple one today because I've got a lot of other stuff done. So catch you guys a little bit later. Thank you. Bye.